Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I wanted to talk a second about this new show on the Fox network called Empire. Empire was created by Lee Daniels, and it's doing really well. A lot of people love what they're seeing on TV, uh, and I think that's interesting. I think it certainly makes the show worth talking about, but at the same time, the show itself contains some interesting aspects and interesting elements that I think are worthy of discussion. Now, the first thing I'm going to have to say is that I'm not a fan of Fox. Let's just start right there. 7.5, I guess 6.5 years ago, something like that. I got into an argument with Bill O'Reilly, and at that point, I vowed that I wasn't going to go on Fox News anymore. And since that time, I have not gone on Fox News. I've turned down every invitation to go back on there. It doesn't mean I won't change my mind. Maybe I'll change my mind at some point, but right now, Fox, what they do, their racism is just a little bit too uncomfortable for me, and I just, it bothers me. The thing about the reason I want to start there is because when you look at the context within which this show was green lighted and created, you have to realize that Rupert Murdoch is the guy who's making the decisions about what his network is going to present to the world. He decides what storylines will be presented, which actors will be selected, which directors and producers will be selected, and so there's an agenda there. There's a clear agenda. Anybody who understands Rupert Murdoch and Fox, they understand that they, similar to other powerful entities in the past, are seeking to use media as a way to push forward an agenda, to push forward propaganda. And in case you don't know, Rupert Murdoch is not just a conservative. Being a conservative in itself is not a bad thing. It is that he is a racist conservative. So let's just start right there. That's one of the reasons why I think you should be concerned about any kind of black show that is being presented by Fox. And then at that point, you can look at the show for its merits to see if the content of the show in any way solidifies any speculation you might have about the intentions of creating that show. Now let's move to the show itself. Okay, so you got Empire. The main character of the show is a former drug dealer turned rapper turned hip hop mogul. Oh, we've never seen that storyline before presented to the black community. Now have we? His ex wife, her name is Cookie, and Cookie is out of prison. If I'm not mistaken, looks like she might have been a prostitute at some point. I saw some clips of her walking down the street, and then I saw her in prison, and so you got the main character, but whose name, by the way, is Lucius Lyon. Lucius Lyon. I mean, what the hell? Come on, man. So you got Lucius Lyon and his wife Cookie, and this is the presentation. This is the portrayal of black families in America on Fox. If these were white people, they wouldn't have this storyline. It would be totally different because they would say, well, it's not realistic. But apparently, this is what black people are. We're former drug dealers turned hip hop moguls, married to women named Cookie who went to prison. Okay, fine. Nothing wrong with going to prison. Now, don't get me wrong. I know some people who went to prison who are actually very good people, but at the same time, that's not reflective of the entirety of our community. And then the children. Okay, so you got one son who's gay, which is fine to be gay. At the same time, there is a consistent effort in Hollywood to emasculate the black male. Chris Rock made that point very clearly, and I agree with him that black men who are masculine with bass in their voice, heterosexual males, don't tend to do as well in Hollywood as men who are gay or men who are promoting a gay agenda. I mean, let's just be clear about that. Again, it doesn't, when it comes to the gay conversation, I kind of feel like I'm on the sidelines. I don't have a problem with gay rights. I don't have a problem with gay marriage. But at the same time, I support Christianity and the rights of Christians to practice their religion as long as they practice it in love and don't try to oppress anybody with it. So, what I'm really seeing right now is that there are consistent efforts to kind of push forward with an agenda that not just one that is fair to everyone, which I think is good, but there's a point where people are starting to get mad at other people because you do not applaud the life that they live, the life they either choose to live or the life that they were born to live. And I don't think I owe you applause for your life. I just might owe you acceptance and respect, and I think that a lot of people give that when it comes to gay issues. Now, moving on, Lee Daniels, who's openly gay, has actually been very honest in terms of admitting that he wants to use this show to quote expose or blow the lid off homophobia in the black community, to expose homophobia in the black community. Now, that's interesting. I have mixed feelings on that. On one hand, I had a cousin who was openly gay, and he was openly gay at a time where it was not popular to do that. He was actually braver than a lot of his gay friends. He wasn't in the closet. His name was Monte Smock. Loved that kid. Used to play with him when we were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. I knew back then that he was different. Let's just say that we played football, and he didn't play football the way the rest of us played football. I'll just leave it right with that. So all through the years, I saw him. Went to high school, college, all that stuff. He's openly gay. He was rejected by our family. He was mistreated. He was abused, and he eventually died at a very early age. Maybe I think about 38 years old, 37. And I look back at his life and I say, you know what, the way he was treated was deplorable. I wish that he could have lived now, so he could live in a world that was more accepting of the life that he chose. And so I'm very sensitive to this issue. In fact, I have very little tolerance for people who are openly hostile toward gay people. But at the same time, here's the other side of that though. My mixed feelings, because I come from a Southern Baptist family. Even though I don't go to church, I still respect what happens in the church most of the time. Although I'll criticize it if it's stupid. Um, you know, I find it problematic that Lee Daniels and other people somehow, I think Lee Daniels and Don Lemon, they're at the top of my list, that they somehow want to pathologize the black community when it comes to their views on homosexuality. That you've got white conservatives, a whole party, the whole Republican Party, that is very open about having views that are not necessarily in complete agreement with homosexuality. They don't believe in you know beating somebody up for being gay, or killing somebody for being gay, or saying negative things about somebody for being gay. But at the same time, they say, look, we got this thing called the Bible, which tells us very clearly that this is not something that we can support. The same way we can't support adultery, we can't support any other kind of sin or crime or whatever. If you do these things and you come to church, we're going to love you the same way we'd love an adulterer. But at the same time, we're not going to applaud an adulterer, and we're not going to applaud you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing homophobic about that. And what bothers me is that somehow, Daniels is using this money given to him by big white and Jewish corporations. They're giving him money to push forward an agenda. And the agenda is, we want you to get these niggas in line. We need you to get black people to think like us, to be like us, and we're going to give you $1 billion to do it. Not a billion. Maybe it's 20 million, 50 million. He'll probably make $100 million before the show's over, because the show's a hit. Whenever black people act like niggas, it's always a hit. Whenever we act like coons, it's always a hit. When we act like butlers, it's always a hit. When you put on something like Precious, it's always going to be a hit. When you put out a show like Empire, it's going to be a hit, because people love to see us portray butlers and maids and coons and rappers and thugs and killers and gangsters and morons and idiots. And that's the problem that we have right now. And so effectively, this propaganda war, the bullets in this war are dollar bills. That's it. The bullets in the war are dollar bills. And white folks got all the money. So effectively, they pick and choose, handpick Negroes that will push forward their agenda, give them $100 million to do it, and say, okay, we need you to get black people to think like us. And so, that's my issue with this show. I'm not going to support this show. I don't know if you're going to support it. I'm not going to condemn you if you decide to watch it. After all, like I said, Coonery is entertaining. It always is. I love Terrence Howard. I love Taraji P. Henson. And what bothers me is the fact that we live in a world where these two talented African Americans can only be rewarded for acting like gangsters, thugs, hookers, coons, and rappers, and and entertainers, and all this other stuff that people want us to be. It really is a minstrel show. And what's amazing about Empire is that this is a minstrel show designed to promote a specific kind of propaganda. That is just what's so powerful to me about this. I mean, there's an agenda here, people, and that's just a fact. So, I'm not going to tell you not to watch the show. I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to tell you that I'm concerned about Lee Daniels and the power that he has. I feel that Lee Daniels, to some extent, every time you watch a Lee Daniels film on screen, you are seeing his mental illness being displayed. He has issues. He's been hurt in his life. He's probably been abused in his life. He doesn't. He has a serious bone to pick when it comes to black people. His comments about African Americans have been quite disturbing. I wish I had the comment in front of me. He said something about black women that just made me say, "What the hell is up with this guy?" So he needs therapy. That's what he needs. And what we're really seeing, unfortunately, is we're seeing we're seeing the residual effects or the externalities of his mental illness being displayed on screen. The projects that he chooses to push forward with are projects that are a reflection of the issues that he has with the world. And I wish the brother the best, but I'm not going to support this nonsense. If you're gonna speak up for gay rights, if you're gonna be proud of who you are, then be proud of who you are. If you're gay, then of course you should be respected like everybody else. But when you get to the point where you start to bully and imperialize and play with people's minds, that's when I think that you're going too far, and that's when I think that you're a little bit narcissistic, a little bit power hungry, and you need to be kind of confronted. So this is why I'm not going to watch the show Empire. This is why I probably won't support many projects by Lee Daniels. I did go see Precious, which was about the most depressing movie I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the movie was just like, seriously. I mean, if I'm a white person, I've never seen a black family before. I'm going to think black people are the most screwed up group of people in the history of the world. I'm gonna be like, these black people are insane, because Precious, literally, it was almost like this little girl's going through life and the whole world is like crapping on her the entire time. And don't get me wrong, we know that these abuse stories do exist, but there are also other stories in our community that exist. There are uplifting stories that exist. There's love that exists. Everything's not always about hate and violence and thuggery and coonery and this silliness that we end up seeing portrayed of ourselves in media. So that's all I want to say about this. Maybe you can go check out Empire. Go check out, at least watch the trailer so you can kind of get your own impression, because my goal is not to tell you what to think. My goal is to tell you what I think and to also convince you to think for yourself. And I encourage you, if you do watch Empire, if you do watch the trailer, if you do find yourself even enjoying the show, watch it with a critical eye. Ask yourself and think about it like this: every time they put something on that screen, there is a reason. Somebody decided to create the reality that's in front of you. It didn't just happen by chance. Every time you see something on the screen, ask yourself, why is that on the screen right now? Why did the character say those words? Why did the storyline go in that direction? And that's what I encourage you to do in life in general. Always read and view things with a very critical eye, because understand, the goal of a filmmaker is to control your mind, to manipulate you, to create a reality for you, and to suck you into that reality. So, to some extent, media is a very powerful tool for brainwashing of people who do not know how to think critically. So, if you watch the show or you don't watch the show, be critical about what you see in front of you. And as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I'm not, this nonsense is stupid. I don't care what everybody else does. I'm not supporting this crap. Well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Please take care. God bless. I'm gone. Peace.